today's world, where we are constantly encouraged to express our opinions and react immediately, there exists an ancient wisdom asserting that silence can be the most powerful response. Great minds throughout history understood that true strength often lies in the ability to hold one's tongue. Indeed, there are situations where words can do more harm than good, where speech only amplifies negativity, weakens one's position, or drains energy. Mastering the art of silence becomes key to controlling one's emotions, relationships, and life in general. This text will explore 6 specific situations where silence proves to be the best strategy for developing unshakable confidence, emotional resilience, and the ability to command respect without uttering a single word. The first situation arises when one is consumed by anger. Anger is a powerful emotion that demands immediate release. It clouds judgment, prompting us to say things we will later regret. The body tenses, the voice rises, and before you realize it, words are spoken that cannot be unsaid. It's crucial to remember that everything said in a fit of anger typically leads to regret. The damage inflicted by an ill-considered outburst often has long-term consequences. A wise person recognizes that anger is a test. Instead of reacting, take a deep breath and count to 10. If the situation is too heated, it's best to remove yourself. Speak only when your emotions are under control. The ability to remain silent when angry demonstrates true self-mastery. Others will perceive calmness, discipline, and control over the situation. And most importantly, you won't have to spend time and energy correcting mistakes made in the heat of the moment. Silence in this case is not a sign of weakness, but an indication of inner strength and wisdom. Secondly, one should exercise restraint when others indulge in gossip. Gossip, like an insidious trap, cleverly disguises itself as harmless chatter. Yet its destructive impact should not be underestimated. Once a person gets involved in this vicious cycle, they inadvertently become part of it, risking becoming the subject of gossip themselves. Stoic philosophy teaches that small minds discuss people, while great minds focus on discussing ideas. By participating in gossip, one stoops to the level of idle chatter that brings no benefit to oneself or others. In such situations, the best response is silence. If someone starts speaking negatively about another, the wise decision is to refrain from participating in that conversation. There's no need to defend anyone or add your own comments. It's simpler to remain silent, or, even better, change the subject. Over time, others will surely notice this trait. They will begin to show more respect and trust, understanding that a person who doesn't speak ill of others won't speak ill of them either. Gossip is like fire, and words are fuel. The less you feed that fire, the quicker it will die out. Thirdly, it's essential to remain calm when faced with unjust criticism. It's important to understand that criticism comes in different forms. Constructive criticism can be helpful, aiding growth, improvement, and offering new perspectives. However, there is also criticism designed to tear down, stemming from envy, insecurity, or a desire to provoke a reaction. When someone criticizes unfairly, the natural inclination might be to defend, justify, or argue. However, this often does more harm than good. The more you react, the more power you give to the critic. Stoics believe that silence is a dignified response. When someone attacks unfairly, it's better to stay silent and let them exhaust themselves. Without the fuel of your reaction, their words lose their power. Ultimately, others will eventually see the truth. Those who truly matter will be able to distinguish constructive feedback from baseless attacks. By remaining silent, you demonstrate that you are above petty conflicts and are not willing to waste energy on battles that don't serve your purpose. The fourth instance when silence becomes a virtue is when one has nothing substantial to say. In today's world, where most people are uncomfortable with silence and strive to fill every pause with meaningless words, a wise person understands that excessive chatter only diminishes their influence. Empty speech, uttered for the sake of speaking, gradually strips words of all meaning. A constant and aimless outpouring of words leads to people stopping paying attention to the speaker. A follower of Stoic philosophy adheres to a simple yet effective rule. If what they are about to say does not add value to the conversation, it is better to remain silent. Instead, they prefer to listen and observe, using silence as a time for reflection before speaking. And when they finally decide to speak, people listen carefully to their words. Why? Because they know that every word carries weight, as they speak rarely, thoughtfully, and purposefully. In a noisy world where everyone is shouting, it is silence that makes a person stand out from the crowd, making their words valuable and significant. The fifth situation where silence becomes a wise choice arises when someone argues for the sake of arguing. There are individuals who engage in discussions not to seek truth, but to win at all costs. They are not interested in logic, reasonable arguments, or fairness. Their sole aim is to prove their opponent wrong, even if it means distorting facts and manipulating reality. Engaging in dialogue with such debaters is a waste of time and energy. Regardless of what is said, they will always find a way to twist words, escalate conflict, or provoke the interlocutor. In such situations, the best strategy is to say nothing. Walk away and let them argue with themselves. A Stoic understands that not every battle is worth fighting. Silence discourages those who seek to draw you into pointless debates. They expect a reaction, but by not receiving it, they lose their power. Instead of wasting energy on fruitless arguments, it's better to save your words for discussions that truly matter. For he who argues with fools risks becoming one himself. Sixth, the ability to listen as a means of learning. Often, people don't pay proper attention to the words of others, merely waiting for their turn to speak. Instead of absorbing information, their mind is focused on preparing their own response. This is why many conversations seem superficial and fruitless. However, a Stoic understands that listening holds more power than speaking. By remaining silent and fully immersing oneself in communication with the interlocutor, one can gain valuable insights, pick up on details others miss, and understand perspectives that are often overlooked. Listening is not just about perceiving sounds, but also paying attention to intonation, body language, and unstated intentions. It is the ability to see the bigger picture, not just the spoken part. The less one speaks, the more one learns, and the more weight their own words carry when they do decide to speak. If you seek to earn respect, admiration, and be perceived as wise, you should listen more than you speak. In a world where everyone strives to be heard, the ability to remain silent becomes a rare and valuable quality. By maintaining silence in the 6 situations described above, one gains control over their emotions, reputation, and energy. They become someone who doesn't succumb to impulsive reactions, doesn't waste words, and avoids negativity. Therefore, the next time you feel the urge to speak, ask yourself, Wouldn't silence be the wiser choice? By mastering the art of silence, you master yourself.